Okay, so Julez Santana talks about how New York fell off in hip hop. Then the South came. Then came the South. So before I play the video, I'm going to tell you that New York has never fell off in hip hop. It has had to take a back seat, in my opinion. I'm going to be fair and honest and say that in the 90s, New York was on top of the world. New York was the biggest place that had, like, New York was running everything. Even though the South was out during the 90s, New York had it. Come on, man. Do I need to name every single act that came from New York that was big in the golden era of hip hop during the 90s? Come on, bro. They had it. They had it. They had hip hop in a chokehold. Now, New York has, in my opinion, New York has two cheat codes. And that is the reason why they will never fall off in hip hop to me. The frame and structure of hip hop may change, but you cannot take New York out of hip hop. You cannot. Number one, of course, New York is the birthplace of hip hop. You can never take that away from New York City. You can never, ever say anything about New York not being part of hip hop. New York will always be part of hip hop because they are the birthplace. Number two, New York is also the marketing structure for all music, let alone hip hop music. So for the factor of number one, number two, by default, New York is the biggest market for hip hop. And then you have Los Angeles, and then you have whatever places under those two, New York and LA. New York is the biggest marketing place. If you're an artist and you're signed to a label, not even signed to a label, if you're an artist and you want to make it big, you have to go to New York. You have to go to Los Angeles if you want people to know who you are. So those two cheat codes is the reason why New York will never fall off, like, as a whole to me. They will never fall off. Yes, they might take a back seat. Yes, they might. New York's rap scene might disappear for a second, but you cannot take New York out of it at all. So now we're going to play this video and we're going to see what Julez Santana says.
To compare us to, so we forgot about the world and only focused on New York. Who's the best in New York? Who's the king of New York? Everything was about New York, New York, New York.
That's true.
And the world was just creeping up. Atlanta niggas was doing shit. It was so much going on outside of New York that we wasn't paying attention.
And now see, we can attribute that to the Source Awards when it was a predominantly New York crowd and they were booing anything that was not New York, like West Coast music or Southern music. They were booing it, right? And when Andre 3000 got up on stage and said the South has something to say, he still got booed. You know, when West Coast rappers would go up and give their thanks, they would get booed. So it's like there's a biasness in there is a biasness in New York when it comes to rap music, you know? They want to hear their area more than everybody else. I think that's a problem that was happening back in the day. So when it came time for New York artists to embrace artists that were not New York artists, I think they caught flack because, you know, a lot of New York hip hop fans don't want to hear nothing other than New York artists. I mean, unfortunately.
Because niggas was so caught up on New York. Like, and niggas was, thinking niggas from the South ain't as smart as they was, or thinking country niggas is just country niggas. You understand what I'm saying? And long and behold, shit turned. Script.
And then, you know, also with what he's saying, I remember, I don't know if if the clip even is online anymore. There's a clip of Havoc from Mobb Deep basically just taking his time to just trash the South. He's taking his time to trash the South, right? And I believe he called out Pimp C. I can't remember. I don't know if that clip is online or not. Let me see if I can find it. But I'll add it. I'll add all of these moments at the end of this. At the end of it. But yeah, I vividly remember Havoc basically trashing the South. I also remember when DJ K Slay, rest in peace, he trashed the South as well. And I believe he had a little back and forth going on with Jay Electronica, who is from New Orleans, of course. So everything Julez Santana is saying is actually facts.
Flipped on niggas like bam,
laughing cats.
You know what I'm saying? Now look, but it is what it is. That's how shit happens. You know what I'm saying? It's no love, it's a good thing for music.
But y'all were some of the people that, y'all were some of the few that were embracing,
the South. Yeah, Dipset was embracing the South, of course. Like literally the only people that were embracing every other part of the United States was Dipset. Dipset was embracing the West Coast. Dipset was embracing the South. I believe the Midwest too. Like, bro, they was embracing everybody. They was the only ones that was really heavy on that Southern culture, like trying to open New Yorkers' eyes to hey, the South got good rappers too. We not the only ones. The East Coast is not the only region.
Regions and all of that.
We always got love outside of New York. Yeah. See, we saw that. That's the thing. We saw that it was a lot going on outside of New York. Yeah. And we wanted to be a part of it. That's why I feel like we lost with music too, though, honestly, right?
But like I said, yeah, Dipset definitely embraced the South. They even took a lot of the Southern rappers' styles and kind of ran with it for a while. They were taking some of the Southern rapper styles and running with it. But I felt like in the long run, hanging out with a lot of Southern rappers and really giving some of the Southern rappers their flowers, they had a rite to passage to pay homage to those Southern rappers by using their style, not really necessarily stealing it, but just paying homage to the South. So I definitely feel like that's the reason why their Dipset would really be getting a lot of radio play in places like Texas and Louisiana and Florida and whatnot, because they really had respect for the South more than a lot of East Coast rappers.